Welcome to Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil, the official Monster Jam podcast. I'm Scott Jordan, and in Monster Jam's 31-year history, only 7 drivers have won both a freestyle and racing World Finals championship. And when you take that list down to the number of drivers who have won at least 5 World Finals championships, it gets even smaller. My guest this week is on both of those lists, and we go to Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina on the Great Clips hotline to welcome 5-time World Finals champion Adam Anderson to Inside Monster Jam. Adam, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us in the middle of the woods, my friend. Welcome.
Glad to be here. This is the best signal I have at my house, and I'm just randomly sitting out here where my wife has all the bird feeders.
All right, well, we can hear that. Now, I don't want to be superstitious at all, but last season, whether it was on the weekly update or this show, I had Weston, Kristen, and Ryan all on it. They all won series championships. You evaded me and didn't win a series championship, so I don't want to say I'm the Anderson good luck charm, but it definitely statistically seems that way.
Well, honestly, I didn't even know, and you said you tried to call, you didn't, you tried to contact me. Well, you're the cause of me losing the championship. Thanks a lot. But thankfully, we've caught up now, and we can come back this year, and maybe I can chase that championship back and bring it back to my camp and forget all my brothers and sisters.
All right, let's talk about growing up, Anderson. You are the oldest child of the legendary icon Dennis Anderson. And talk a little bit about what it was like growing up with Dennis as he was in the heyday of Gravedigger's run.
In the beginning, obviously being the eldest, I was there from Gravedigger's a little bit older than I am, but not much, and from the very beginning. And I honestly, growing up, did not know or realize what it was. And I don't think neither did my dad, really. He was doing it as a passion, his job, and he did enjoy it. But at the same time, it was we didn't know what it was going to turn into. I remember living in this tiny little house that the roof leaked on, but yet Gravedigger had to have a new motor or whatever it may have been. And that was just kind of life. That's how it was. And I grew up with the sport, too, the way the sport has grown throughout. But that's all because of my dad. He was out running the roads, creating what the Gravedigger name and legacy is today, enabling us, and not only us, but I think all Monster Jam drivers and other competitors kind of paving the road for us.
I know it was a different schedule back then for drivers. I know your dad was literally responsible for driving Gravedigger up and down the road, making the T-shirts, selling the T-shirts. So how often was he around that you can recall during your childhood?
Man, it's terrible to say that there's key moments, highlight moments through my childhood that I remember, sort of, but at the same time, they all revolved around maybe there was a new Gravedigger truck being built, and I remember him testing it and breaking it in the field, and all the guys at the shop and growing up around all that stuff, and those were kind of like my highlight moments in my life growing up. It wasn't until later on in life, I'd say until around Kristen and Weston were born, that he was able to kind of have a regular, normal father figure, I guess you could say, which after I myself went out on the road and started traveling, I kind of understood it, and I didn't, I might have been upset when I was a kid or bummed out because my dad wasn't there for my football games or whatever it may have been, but it was also the norm. It was okay, and but because of him, it's a lot easier way of life now.
Well, you said that once you got out on the road, you sort of understood it. Is there a parallel there now that you were a father with how much you have to be on the road?
I went out on the road and saw the road life as a kid, growing up with him, riding in the tractor trailer. Summertime, we get to go with him for a while and go to a bunch of events, go to the shows, and have a good time. Once I was a little bit older, and I didn't get those opportunities as much, and now it's a little bit easier. I did drive the rig, the tractor trailer. I think I drove it for 6 years, I think. I ran the tractor trailer up and down the road when I was driving some of the first Monster Jam trucks and crewing on the trucks too. I would go to events, and people didn't even know it, and I would be there just crewing on other trucks. I wasn't even there to drive.
So at what point, growing up, with this Gravedigger name and this truck and your dad being so iconic, what point did you realize this was something that you wanted to get into and get into the family business, so to speak?
Honestly, I think myself, I was the most reserved out of all my siblings, and I was so nervous about even doing it because I was embarrassed to be in front of people. I didn't think I was going to be that good at it. I didn't have all the opportunities growing up that my siblings have had as far as driving, even the mega trucks or even the monster trucks to go through training and stuff. I didn't have any of that. Mine was legit as far as I was just that regular kid at home. I say regular kid. I mean, we had dirt bikes and stuff like that, and that kind of was my training. But I wasn't sure if I could do it, so it made me nervous enough that I didn't really want to do it because I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to fail what my dad had created. I didn't want him to think I wasn't any good, or even my family. But until the very first time I did it, and was behind the wheel of a truck, then it was like a light switch. It was on from there.
Up next, we revisit Adam Anderson's debut in Monster Jam and talk about the early years all the way through Gravedigger the Legend. So make sure you come right back here. More Inside Monster Jam powered by Lucas Oil is coming your way. Welcome back to Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. My guest this week is the 5-time World Finals champion and 2-time Guinness World Record holder, Adam Anderson. And, of course, Adam is giving us a tour of the palatial Anderson estate, moving around. We got the backyard before, and now we get inside the office area, Adam. So thank you for showing off the many areas of your wonderful North Carolina estate.
Yep, absolutely. And hopefully on next viewing, maybe the roof, but hopefully not.
Let's go back to your debut in 2005 in Vet King at the age of 19. So what do you remember about that day? A big deal, Uniondale, New York, for a 19-year-old kid to get to debut in I think it was an amazingly cool truck in Vet King.
It was a very scary time in my life because I was so nervous. I wanted to do well. It wasn't a Gravedigger truck, and I did want to earn my keep, so I was already on the road, crewing, working on the trucks, and here's my opportunity to show the world what I'm capable of, if I was even capable of. There was no such thing as Monster Jam University. There was no training. There was no testing. I was thrown to the wolves, and of course the elder drivers that I then competed with at the time, they helped me out a lot and coached me. And in the beginning, it was just exciting to be a part of that life and the road family that I had grown up with my whole life. And now here I am, a young adult going to the next step in my life. And for all those guys and girls to be there and be a part of it, man, it was a really cool thing. It was kind of a bummer I didn't always get to see my dad when I was competing in the trucks, but it was like I had a bunch of my uncles with me, so it made it a lot easier.
Is there any jealousy now for these young athletes to get to come in and have this Monster Jam University and get all this training? And, of course, Weston and Kristen get to come in and debut in Gravedigger. You didn't get that opportunity. So any animosity towards this new class of young athletes that gets that sort of training?
Oh, absolutely. I can't stand it. It is not fair at all. But no, it is, and anybody's going to be jealous of it. I wish I had that opportunity. I wish I had the opportunity my siblings had, some of these new drivers. It just wasn't there. But at that time period, I got what I got. Right now, how can you blame, a younger person coming into this sport that they're given these opportunities? Did we create everything to hand it to them? Yes. But at the same time, there's a reason we did that, to take this to the next level. I don't like it because they're so good so fast, but at the same time, it's a different story when you go from the testing, the training to live event. It's a different story. You become a different person, and I feel that's where I kind of shadow a lot of the newer competitors, drivers. I don't want to help anybody, but I know I have to. I don't like to see anyone fail, whether it's family, friend, whatever it may be, competitor. It's hard for me to watch anybody fail, so I won't allow them to do that.
I think you've done all right for yourself without that sort of formal training that you had there. You go into 2008 in Taz, you become the youngest World Finals champion in history, and then you debut Gravedigger the Legend, which aesthetically has become a fan favorite and very popular amongst the Monster Jam fans. Were you involved at all in the design and concept of Gravedigger the Legend?
We were, coming off of, some big wins and just my career really taking off driving the Taz truck. And it was just a deal through Warner Brothers. A lot of people still love that truck and miss that truck, they say. And, I was trying to make my next step. I honestly probably could have jumped right in a Gravedigger truck at the time, but I really didn't want to because I still wanted to be able to go to an event and compete with my father at the time. Did they always do that? No, they always keep us separated until certain specific events throughout the season. Well, I wanted that next step, but like I said, just to be there. And then we went up to the execs at Monster Jam actually after we did our encore with the trucks in the World Finals. And hey, we would really love to campaign this truck. It has the potential to be really something really cool, we feel like, and it's fitting for where we come from. And they agreed to it, and then it just grew legs after that. And then we were able to go out and campaign the truck for quite a few years, and had some great success in it.
Well, you had a great crew chief in Cole Vennard back in those days. We'll talk about him here in just a little bit. Up next on Inside Monster Jam, we're going to get to the Anderson family, talk about Adam's siblings, and the very long, extended Anderson family tree. And I am going to bring up the dreaded R word and grill Adam with retirement questions. That is all coming next on Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. Welcome back to Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. I'm Scott Jordan, and this week on the Great Clips Hotline, I'm joined by Gravediggers Adam Anderson. So, Adam, going into the last break, we mentioned Cole Vennard, who was a crew chief with you with Gravedigger the Legend. So I want to talk about Cole and some other members of the Anderson family and the extended Anderson family. But first, let's talk about your brother Ryan, who is now a 3-time World Finals champion and a Guinness World Record. Just quickly, what are your thoughts on Ryan's career so far?
Ryan's had a very successful career, and I feel and it's not a bad thing, but his career is built off of highlight moments, which honestly, you couldn't ask for a better career because those are the biggest memories within the sport. And I may be a little more consistent sometimes, not always anymore, because now with age, Ryan's starting to become a little more consistent too. But also, his career from the beginning, to when he debuted the truck, the Son of a Digger truck, one of the highlight moments of the sport. But also along the way, he did crew with me for, I think he did one season with me on the road to just kind of get a feel for things. And we had a great time, and we had our ups and downs on the road, and it was a lot of fun. But it's also helped to build him as not only as a person, but as a driver too. He didn't get all the opportunities either. He drove a little bit more in the field, and did a little bit of training, but it was nothing like what the opportunities people have nowadays.
Let's move on to Weston and Kristen. You now have 2 series champions, both of them coming off a 2022 series championship. Weston, of course, Rookie of the Year. What are your thoughts on Weston and Kristen driving so far?
Weston coming up into his first season, I honestly wouldn't expect any less. I didn't care. I didn't want the pressure for him because there is a lot of pressure there being new, but I knew that he would be successful in what he's doing. From where he came from, the training that he's had was the most extensive out of all of us. So for him coming in his first year and to win a series championship's a big deal. And then Kristen, I couldn't be more proud of my sister for the accolades that she's accomplished. I cannot, first female in a Gravedigger truck and then to go out and win her series championship last year. I'm probably more proud of her because she had a little tougher than all of us boys. I say tougher in a different way. She was semi girly girl still. We would make her cut up and have some fun, but I didn't expect what she has accomplished already in her young career.
Let's talk about the honorary Andersons here. I mentioned Cole Vennard. You also look at Tyler Menninga on that list, who has some experience down at Digger's Dungeon. Brandon Vinson, a longtime friend, and then John Gordon as well, who worked with your brother Ryan. So of Cole Vennard, John Gordon, Brandon Vinson, Tyler Menninga, who are you most impressed with of those 4 that have come out of that kind of Anderson tutelage in that family tree and gone on to done some great things?
Tyler and where he's at and where he's elevating the sport. And I would say maybe the most for him because the other guys, it's almost expected. They came from a pure motorsports competing background, whether it was on-road, off-road. Those guys had always been in that and had been crewing. Whereas Tyler, he was this Midwest kid that came out for a summer job. And I don't know that he could put his shoes on the right feet. He still probably cannot put his shoes on the correct feet.
I was going to say, I don't think he can.
I love the kid. I do. But he is there's something he goes out there and he can drive that truck. He cannot do anything else in life. I love the kid to death, but he really cannot. I mean, I remember he bought his brand new truck when he was here in North Carolina with got his brand new pickup truck and runs right into a pole with it. And I'm like, Tyler, what is your problem, dude? But then he takes Gravedigger and recreates or also is creating these new moves that everybody's got to chase.
So there were some questions after last season about whether or not we would see you back in Monster Jam. Now here you are in your 18th season. You're still doing very well here. You're competing at a high level. I do want to talk about potential retirement after 18 seasons. What do you feel is left for you to accomplish after 5 world championships?
Man, honestly, when saying 18 years, it still is amazing to me. It doesn't seem like it's been that long. It has been a long road, and my body does feel it. My mind feels it, but at the same time, like this year, I just told myself and the crew, I got, awesome crew behind me, that we got to show everybody that we're still here. Tom Mintz still does it. Now the level of competitiveness when those guys were first coming up, even my dad, it was nothing like what it is today. And even in the past 10 years. So it's a lot more difficult to be good at what you do. And if I can still come out on top or close to on top, then I think I have a couple more years left in me. And I now, if I could stay home and cut my grass for, the rest of my life, that'd be awesome. But at the same time, I'd go crazy. My family would go crazy and they want to kick me out. So I don't know how many years I have left in me. As long as my body and the truck and I can keep going on, I'm going to continue on.
You and I, we did a one-on-one conversation for television last year, and I mentioned a little bit about what your legacy might be. And for someone like me, I'm 44 years old. Dennis Anderson was Gravedigger in my childhood, but for so many of this generation of Monster Jam fans, you are the face of Gravedigger. They know Adam Anderson as Gravedigger. So what do you feel when you do finally, hang it up and ride off into the sunset and cut your grass and drive your family crazy every weekend? What do you think your legacy is going to be as a Gravedigger driver?
I don't think that my legacy on the fan side per se will ever be what my dad's was. Not only I don't think I'll be able to compete as long as he did. I'll still be around the sport, I'm sure, in some way, somehow. And it's just getting to that level now where it is Adam Anderson and Gravedigger. I feel that, and it does feel good. But at the same time, I think my biggest legacy, and I didn't even realize it, maybe behind the scenes with the other competitors up and coming, all the guys you talk about, Cole Vennard, Cody Saucier, Tyler, all the guys that have come up, and I didn't realize I was a part of what their careers turned into. Other people that I got them in the sport and I gave them the right connection, and I forgot because it's just so much is going on. And I'd say 90% of who is competing within Monster Jam today, I affected them somehow, some way. And I didn't know that until recently. We just all sat together at a massive, summit meeting with all the Monster Jam drivers. And that was a huge, huge, huge honor. And for me, and it really did, it made me emotional to know that I had affected that many people.
Well, you affected me as well, man. You were there in my first ever series in 2017. You took me under your wing. You were one of the only ones that showed me the ins and out of Monster Jam trucks. I attribute that mostly to pity of this guy with the shaved head and a yellow shirt that didn't fit, was 2 sizes too big. So I appreciate that, man. Thank you for taking pity
Yeah.
on the Banana Man.
No, I know it, man. And I felt for you. And then the people want to just not help you out. But look where you're at today. And you wouldn't be doing what you're doing if it wasn't for me. Okay.
Listen again. You would have won a series championship if you would have been on my show. I wouldn't be here if it were for you. So it's reciprocal. Real quick, who retires first? You or Tom Mintz?
Oh my God, there's something wrong with Tom. I don't even know why he is still doing it. He cannot stop. He is a madman. If it was his choice, if he could continue on, but he's getting old. Last year was probably the best years I ever had with Tom Mintz off the track. It was the most cordial it's been, and it's because Tom's calming down in his old age. I've always been easygoing. But if that dude could continue on until there was no other option, he wouldn't stop. He could probably outlast me for sure.
Coming up, we take some of your fan questions, and I ask Adam why the heck he keeps Bryce Kenny around year after year after year after year. All that coming up next on Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. Welcome back to Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. Thanks for joining us. I'm joined by 5-time World Finals champion Adam Anderson in North Carolina. We're going to take some fan questions. I threw in a few here, too, to make it fun. Let's start with the serious one, Adam. This comes from Eli Steele 35. Who's a driver, past or present, that never drove Gravedigger that you wish would have been on the team?
Man, And that's a really good question. That's pretty cool. Uh, I think Neil Elliott would have been pretty cool driving Gravedigger. He'd been pretty sweet. Um, Today, I would love to see Jim Kohler behind the wheel of Gravedigger. Some of the older guys, I think that would be pretty fitting, be pretty awesome to see that stuff.
Those are two great names. Nathan Odom, 20, asked, do you think your dad will ever come back for one last show at some point?
He would love to, man. But I mean, I don't even know how old Dad is. He doesn't know how old I am, so that makes it even. But I think he's 64 or something like that, and he's paid his dues. He'll always be around, and everybody may not know it. He might be in the background, but he's there and he's watching. He would love to be a part of it like that again, but man, at 64 years old, it's just that's tough, man.
All right, time for two quick questions here. This one comes from Paulie Quinn and also comes from Scott Jordan. Do you love Bryce Kenny as much as he loves you, and why do you keep him around for every tour?
No. I definitely do not love Bryce Kenny as much as he loves me. And it's okay, I just keep dragging him around with me, and another year, here we go. And now we've created a really great relationship. It's been a lot of fun, off the track, competitiveness, and it's been a great time. It really has.
Well, speaking of fun, my last question for you, and this comes from me, nobody else. Why do you keep stealing Todd LeDuc's crew chiefs? I have to get to the bottom of this. Why? What is the just give me a fast answer. Why do you keep taking them, man?
I really do not know. I do not know. It is I do not have a good answer for that. I wish I had a better one. It happens, and I honestly feel bad. I'm like, oh no. When they tell me, I'm like, I'm getting news. Everybody's talking. They're having all the meetings. We're deciding who's going where. This guy quit this year. He's not coming back with us this season. Whatever's happening. And they're like, oh, but he's coming over here to your team. I'm like, oh man.
I don't think he's taking it personally at all. But we'll just keep going. Now, listen, you guys can see Adam and Gravedigger at a stadium near you on Stadium Championship Series Red. Get to monsterjam.com and get your tickets now. Adam, thanks so much for spending some time with me, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
That is all the time we have for this episode. I'll see you right back here next time on Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil.